So this week we're looking at what happens when a group of people who go to life drawing classes get dressed up for Halloween as mad scientists. It's more of looking at more creative processes outside just drawing and painting. There's loads of people that really throw themselves into costumes, and sometimes when you get a chance to do something outside the ordinary, you can really let your imaginations go. So a lot of the costumes you'll see and a lot of the things that have been put together are handmade, or the faces have been painted, and it just looks fantastic. So I can't actually do any filming at the life drawing class, obviously. It's just not something that's done, but you'll be able to see everyone getting ready. We all gather together first to put all our costumes on, so we don't need to actually get public transport in our costumes, and then we walk through Manchester to actually get to the life drawing class at Studio B, and then go to the Pier Hat afterwards. So this is what happens when we get together to get dressed. I dug out some old material and decided to cover the rucksack that I usually take all my art materials in.
Perfect.
Gwyn decided to come and help. But for some reason she really didn't like the plastic gun. A few hours sewing later, and we had some sort of covering for the backpack. I embellished that with random limbs that I had lying around, and some hoses and bits of wire and things like that, just to make it a bit more interesting. And with lights attached to the frame. Yeah. Did a few splatters on a coverall, and then hot glued some plastic insects to it. Splattered a few bits of paint on the bag cover. I'm ready to go. I prepared some more papers like I usually do. I think I'll put a link in the description of a video where I showed you how I do that. And just let them dry. Well deserved rest and a cup of coffee. Over at Dan's place, we were all getting ready. Catherine was lethal with those clippers. Evil, good. Evil, good. No idea who that is. parcels to unwrap. This was a genius idea. Food colouring, brilliant. This was only half the story. This was the model Liz, who we were going to be drawing later, just having her makeup done. Thank you to Dylan for doing a bit of filming for me. So these are the drawings I came up with on the evening. Painting, sorry. It's quite life drawing, but I always do painting. So, well, not always. Tell a lie. These are like, there's a 2-minute sketch in the background, and then I think that was a 10-minute pose at the front. That one's another 2 minutes. Or was that 5? I think that's 2. Yeah, that one's a 5-minute pose. That one's a 10-minute pose. I do like that one. But Liz, who's the model, she's a fantastic life model, and she always brings some sort of narrative into it. So with this one, it was the moth theme, and I knew it was going to be a moth theme, which is why I did all the black and white in the background. This one was 2 10-minute poses. I think we're onto the 15-minute poses now. 15-minute pose. If you can see the brush strokes that I use as well. What I tend to do is I tend to have colours, like 4 or 5 different brushes on the go at the same time. So you pick up the brush with the nearest colour, and it's like using coloured pencils or pastels, because you've got about 5 different colours to choose from, and you can just adjust them slightly by adding more paint. So that's how I managed to get them done so quickly. And this was the final one, and I really like that one. I like the pose, I like the feeling of it. It's quite a dejected moth. And at the end of the day, at the end of the night on at the life drawing classes, when it's a special occasion, Easter, Christmas, Halloween, they do a little portrait competition as well. And I was lucky enough to get an absolute gem to paint. You may have seen it earlier in the video. I got to paint Frank's Sidebottom, and so got my paints, and there's the Frank's Sidebottom, and you get ticks as votes, and then you win. And Frank's Sidebottom won. I love the fact that everyone's got enough of a sense of humour to vote for a picture of Frank's Sidebottom in a portrait competition. So anyone who did vote for me, thank you very much. So it was a brilliant night, and then we all piled into the Pier Hat for a drink at the end. I did manage to get back home again. I got out of the costume before I got home. But yeah, they're really good nights. It's Life Drawing Manchester, and if you can get across to it, then it's a really good evening on a Thursday night. Right, thanks very much. Next week we'll take a trip to see what costumes are about in Whitby for Whitby Goth weekend. So I'll see you next week. Bye.